the garage door intruder. This all went down about a decade ago, back when I was in my early 20s. I grew up in a modest suburban home in a quiet neighborhood in upstate New York. For most of my childhood, I shared a cramped bedroom with my younger sister, Emily. We had matching twin beds pushed against opposite walls, a couple of old wooden dressers that had seen better days, and tiny closets stuffed with clothes and toys. There wasn't even space for a proper desk. We'd have to spread our homework out on the beds or the floor. It wasn't unbearable, but as kids, we dreamed of having our own rooms. When Emily finally headed off to college on a scholarship to study biology, I wasted no time claiming the space. With her blessing, of course, I wasn't about to start a family feud. I hauled her bed down to the basement for storage and rearranged everything to make room for a desk I'd been eyeing at a garage sale. Finally, I had a spot to do my schoolwork, without interruptions, away from the noisy living room or the cluttered kitchen table. That setup served me well for the next couple of years until I graduated high school and moved out for community college, crashing with friends or in dorms, so the room situation back home didn't matter much anymore. Fast forward a bit. Emily finished her degree and landed a solid job as a lab technician in a hospital right in our hometown. She moved back in with our parents to save money, and wouldn't you know it, she reclaimed our old shared bedroom without a second thought. I'd spent so much time personalizing it, painting the walls a soft blue, hanging posters of my favorite bands, even adding shelves for my books. But she just waltzed in and made it hers again. I was a tad annoyed at first, feeling like all my effort had been erased, but my parents reminded me that I'd done the exact same thing to her when she left. Fair's fair, right? I couldn't argue with that logic, so I let it go. By the time I wrapped up my own associate's degree in graphic design and snagged an entry-level gig at a local ad agency, I decided to move back home too, to build up some savings before striking out on my own. But with Emily firmly entrenched in our old room, I had to improvise. The only available space was the attic bedroom, which had been used as storage for years. It was smaller, with slanted ceilings that made it feel cozy, but a bit claustrophobic. And it was right above the family room, so I could hear every TV show or conversation downstairs. Plus, it had this weird overhang where the roof met the side of the house, with windows on two sides, one looking out over the backyard and the other peering down at the neighbor's fence. It wasn't perfect, but it was mine, and the privacy was a huge plus after years of sharing. The night everything happened was a humid Friday in late summer. I was home alone, which was rare and kind of blissful. Emily was away at a weekend retreat with her church group, and my parents had driven out to our aunt's lake cabin for a family reunion, planning to stay until Monday. I'd had a brutal week at work, endless revisions on a client's logo that just wouldn't satisfy them, so I opted for a low-key night. I ordered Chinese takeout, binge-watched a few episodes of an old sitcom, and headed up to my attic room around 10:30 to read a thriller novel I'd picked up at the library. The house was eerily silent, no creaks from footsteps or murmurs from downstairs, just the occasional hum of the AC kicking on. Around midnight, as I was deep into a suspenseful chapter, I heard it, the mechanical whir of the garage door opener, followed by the familiar rumble and shake of the floor beneath me. It lasted the usual 15 seconds or so, the vibrations traveling up through the walls. At first, it didn't register as odd. I assumed maybe my parents had come back early for some reason. But then it hit me like a ton of bricks. They'd texted me photos from the cabin just hours ago, laughing around a campfire. Emily was miles away too. No one should be opening that garage door. My pulse quickened, and I set the book down, straining to listen. The house fell silent again, but now it felt oppressive, charged with tension. I slipped out of bed and tiptoed to the window overlooking the driveway. Peering through the blinds, I could see the garage door wide open, spilling a rectangle of light onto the pavement. But no car in sight, no shadows moving. Adrenaline surged through me, and I grabbed the old softball bat from under my bed, leftover from high school days when I played on the school team. Heart-pounding, I crept down the narrow attic stairs, each step creaking despite my efforts to be quiet. My mind raced with explanations. Maybe a neighbor had a similar remote frequency and accidentally triggered it. Or perhaps the opener was malfunctioning. But deep down, I knew those were wishful thinking. At the bottom of the stairs, I paused, listening. Faint murmurs drifted from the direction of the kitchen, voices low and indistinct, at least two people. They weren't family. The tones were unfamiliar, clipped and urgent. Panic set in. This was a break-in. I fumbled for my phone and dialed 911, whispering urgently to the dispatcher about intruders in my home. She advised me to hide and wait for help, but something primal took over. This was my family's home, filled with memories, and I couldn't just cower while strangers rifled through it. Ignoring her pleas, I pocketed the phone with the call still connected and gripped the bat tighter, inching down the hallway. The voices grew clearer as I approached the master bedroom, my parents' room. Drawers were being yanked open, items shuffled around. They were searching, methodical and unhurried. I took a shaky breath, mustered all my courage, and burst through the door with a yell that echoed off the walls. Two figures spun around, startled. One, tall and lanky, the other stocky with a ski mask pulled low. They were digging through my mom's jewelry box, pockets stuffed with trinkets. The surprise gave me a split-second advantage. I swung the bat at the taller one, connecting with his arm. He howled and stumbled back, clutching it. The stocky one lunged at me, grabbing for the bat. We grappled, crashing into the dresser, knocking over a lamp that shattered on the floor. He was stronger, pinning me against the wall, his breath hot and ragged through the mask. I kneed him, buying a moment. But the tall one recovered, advancing with a crowbar in hand. In that instant, as his fist tightened around my throat, spots dancing in my vision, I thought it was over. Regrets flooded me. Why hadn't I listened to the dispatcher? Why risk it all? But then, sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder. The intruders froze, exchanged panicked glances, and bolted for the sliding glass door leading to the backyard. They vanished into the night, just as blue and red lights flashed through the windows. I collapsed, gasping, as officers burst in, checking on me and securing the scene. The paramedics insisted on a hospital visit for my bruises and possible concussion. But I refused, too wired on adrenaline. I gave my statement, detailing every moment. The burglars had escaped, but the police promised to investigate. My family rushed home the next day, horrified and furious at my recklessness. We installed alarms, cameras, the works, but what haunted me was how they got in. They'd used the garage remote from my unlocked car in the driveway. Someone who knew our routines, our habits. We never caught them, and my dad became obsessed, suspecting a neighbor or acquaintance. That night shifted something in me. Facing death, even briefly, makes you see life differently. The dissociation, the acceptance. It's a feeling that lingers, a shadow in quiet moments.